Hello and welcome back to the fourth video tutorial of this series where we are learning how to create a Spring Boot project from scratch. In the last video we learned about how to get particular activity from the list of activities and what is business service. Now in this video we are going to learn how to add new activities in the existing list and how to update and delete it. So let's get started. So in order to add a post method or an add an activity, right, we need to use a post method, right? So let's create a method to add the activity. Okay, so we are going to add an activity using a post method. And now how we are going to tell a Spring that this is a post method. So to do that, we are going to use request mapping to tell that this is a endpoint. And to tell that this is a post method endpoint, we need to pass an argument called method and get the values, get the uh, uh, type of the method from request method class. Now here you will see that it has all the types of method. If you don't pass anything, it by default gets the get method. So that is the reason you don't need to pass anything from here. And also you need to pass one more thing that is called value that would be your endpoint, and we are going to pass it as activity activity, correct. Now this endpoint has been registered. Now we should be able to get the values in activity variable. For this we are going to use uh, an annotation that is called request body. So whatever you are changing in the body will be converted to activity object and will be assigned to this variable automatically. And once this is done, I'm going to create a method in activity service that will add this entry to the existing list. Okay. So we are getting this error as this method is not available in our activity service. Let's create this method. It's not going to return anything. In the activities we are going to add the activity, the one that we have received right now. Fine, let's run and see if it is working fine. For this we'll have to go to postman, as post method is not available on the browsers, right? So here now Spring Boot project is running. You can see that we are getting the two activities that is present into the list. Now let's add one more activity and then we will do get on these on all the activities and see if it is getting done. Okay, it should be activity. Okay, let's see what is the endpoint. Okay, so when we make this request we are getting an error, and this error is coming because this arrays list is not mutable. So in order to make it mutable, let's convert it to a array list instead of arrays, right? Okay, let's just import it. Let's rerun it. Fine, this is running fine. We should be able to add a new activity into the list, and that is C++. So when you do a get method, you see that all the three activities are coming up, and this is the new entry that we added using the post method. Now let's go and add endpoints to update and delete the existing activities. So in order to update an activity, let's create a method. This is not going to return anything, and we are calling it update activity. It is going to get an activity object, and also it is going to get the ID. So one thing I wanted to tell you all that how we are getting the activity object, right? So whatever Spring take care of it, you don't need to worry about it. How it works is like this: whatever you are getting from the request body is converted to activity object and then passed it over here. So whenever you see over here, this request body is already converted to an object, and we are going to pass in play around it. Okay. For this, we are going to use the annotation. We are going to use request mapping annotation, and the method that we are going to pass is the update method. We are going to pass request method dot update, sorry, put, and value we are passing as slash activity slash id. So we are going to get a particular id where we want to update it. We can terminate it. And now again here we are going to tell that activity should be taken from the body, right? And for id we should pass the annotation that is path variable. Fine, we got the activity and we got the id. Now we can simply go and update an existing activity. So activity service dot update activity will have this method over there, and we will pass activity and id. Hmm. Fine, let's create this method in our service. So this method also is not going to return anything, and it is going to have arguments, activity and the id. So here we'll have to get the activity with this particular id, and then we will update the value of activity. For that we will have to traverse the list of activities and find the activity with that id, and then we will update the value. Fine. Activity a equals to get index I we are going to pass, and here we got the activity. Now we will do get id. We'll do get the id from the activity and compare it with the existing id that we have received id. If it is equals to the id that we have received, then what we are going to do is that we need to update the value, and we are going to pass the set method is going to set the value on a particular index. So we are passing the current index and the new activity that we have received. Once it is done, you stop rendering the list, and, I mean, traversing the list and come out of it. Okay, so this is for put method. Let's see if it is working fine. Okay, let's run it and go to Postman, and what we need to do, create a new tab, and this is a put method. Also, we are going to send id as 3, id as 2, and I'm going to pass the body, and body should be of type JSON, right? And you can take the body from here, and what we need to do, let's make some changes. Java new description. So currently, if you see, what we are getting is two activities, right? ID1 and ID2 in Java and Java description. I'm going to make a change in Java, and I have passed the ID as 1. So ID1, ID should remain same, name should remain same. The value of description has changed to Java new description. So yeah, it returns, there is no error. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm getting the new value now. So update endpoint has been added to our project. Now the last thing that we are going to add is the delete activity in our project. So for that, let's create a method, delete activity, and we are going to get id, nothing else. We don't need anything extra. So activity service should have a method to delete an activity. Okay, it should accept an argument, and that will be activity. Now let's tell Spring that this is my uh, delete endpoint. Okay, and we are going to tell the endpoint value should be same, no issues. Activity. So on activity endpoint delete method, we should pass an ID, right? And we can pass the ID from here. I'm passing ID as 2, and let's tell this take the ID, take the ID from this path variable. So here it will be received in ID, and we are going to pass it to this variable. For that, we are going to use path variable annotation, and we are good over here. Let's add this method into our service. This also is not going to return anything. It is going to receive an ID from here, and to delete it, activities delete dot remove if it is present, and we will just traverse through it. Okay, so what it is going to do, whenever an activity is present with a received ID, it will remove it. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, we are running our application. Fine, it is running. Now let's see what are the activities we already have. Let's add one more activity and check if the activity has been added successfully. Yes, it has been added. Now let's make an update and see if the update is, yeah, so update you can see over here. Now what we need to do, we just need to open another tab, and we just need to change it to the delete method and make a request, and it is successful. You should, when we are making the next request, this entry should get deleted. Okay, so this has been deleted, and now you can see that all the endpoints are working fine. So yeah, that's all for this video, and in the next video we will see how to connect to the databases and how we can learn repositories and how to use it. Right. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.